Greetings, thank you for tuning in. My name is Tim with Little Steps, and How Do I Do This 01 is my channel on YouTube and on the web. You can find me on freewebs.com. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Please rate my videos and enjoy what I'm teaching you here. Now let's go ahead and go into Paint. We're going to try and get familiar real quickly with a few options for laying down paint. Now I'm just going to quickly cover the items here that are common that you're going to practice with. First thing we're going to learn is painting using your flood fill tool. You can left click on it, you put your primary color into the paint. If you right click, change it back. Now I can do this on any number of colors. You notice I changed brown and tan to my background. I can do the same thing quickly and easily. Now if I go ahead, select all, push my delete key, now you notice it changed to the background color, so we have to change back to a white background color. Select all again, press delete, and it goes to white. So pay attention to your colors on your color palette when you're working with this program. The background color and foreground color do matter because it interacts with everything inside of the program. Okay, let's go ahead once again and try something else here. Now you can magnify, but we don't have anything to look at, so let's go to the pencil tool. You can use that for just sketching things out. It can be a rough draft. Now you notice I'm using brown. Anytime you're sketching, I would recommend you use another color other than black. Once you get to your final draft or the point where you want something to be set in stone or clarified, you can go ahead and do it that way. Now the other trick is that I've found recently, but I'll cover it in a later lesson, is using your formats on your saving properties in order to weed out stuff like this. You can sketch in a gray or black, and you can get around that sketching using a technique that I've seen online, which is on YouTube, by the way, but I thought it was rather interesting because I had never thought of doing it. But anyway, this is for sketching. You can sketch in any color you want, and you can use your eraser tool. For example, if I change to black and I like these lines right here, but I don't really like the lines going down in brown, I can do this. Now, this is using the actual pencil tool, but you can actually get straight lines doing it this way. Now, say I like the pink ones, but I don't like the black ones and I don't like the brown ones. If I go back here and I choose brown, I can use my eraser tool, right click on it, and I will remove just the brown. Everything else stays. Then if I go to black and I right click, I remove just the black and leave the pink. Good idea for learning this trick. Okay, you can use your eyedropper to pick colors from your palette, or you can actually use your brush tool here, and you set your brush here to something a little bigger. I can go through and I can set a swatch for my color palette here, and I can use any one of these as my color palette. I can use my eyedropper tool in conjunction with this to choose my colors. Now if I go to my eyedropper, I can change it on the palette. That way I don't have to go down here to my color editing. If I go in here and I change my custom palette, I can come back out here, apply those colors onto the canvas and use that as a actual color palette, just like a painter would when he's painting. Makes it quicker and easier, makes it faster for you and less hassle. Also gives you a color range to quickly dab into, just like a painter would with a brush. Now let's go ahead and use the spray can tool. Now remember, the spray can tool can come in the same pattern but different sizes. Again, going back here, suppose I don't like certain colors. If I don't like a certain color, such as the red that I laid down, I go back to my eraser, and I don't like the brown that I used, I go to my eraser and press the right button, and I don't like my blue, I can press that, and you notice I'm cleaning this up bit by bit. Now if I left click and turn it to green and right click here, I'll remove the green pixels. And I can do the same with the pink. I can do the same with the bright red or the orange. And I can go through the color palette until I get all the pixels off that I don't like, that are the wrong color. One layer at a time. Pretty good option for using your eraser tool to delete just what you don't want, or to change it. If I use the background color here of gray, I can change everything that I've sprayed on, such as, in this case, let's make a quick box. Now if I right click and make it the background black or the background gray, I can go back here, click this to white, use my eraser tool, and it only removed the black. But if I go down here and change my primary color to the gray, I erase just that. So be aware laying paint on the canvas has it's very flexible in this program if you learn how to use your tools. Now let's go to the curve tool. You can switch it once, you can switch it twice. Switch it once. If you try going over here and moving another line, look what happens. Okay? Not a good idea to try doing it twice. Here's the trick to get around that. Lay your color down, put the curve the way you want it, go back over here, switch tool, switch back, go back over here, and drop it in, switch tools, and you're good to proceed on. Okay, very important steps. Now, covering your brush tool, you've got several choices for shapes. You can do a round. Let's go here for a brighter color. You can do a round, you can do a square, you can do a diagonal left and a diagonal right, and each of these has their uses depending upon what you're doing, but the point of it is you can change the sizes as well. If I push the control and the plus key, you'll notice my brush is getting bigger. I can get bigger or smaller on almost any brush that I want to use. Anything that's got an option for size, including your eraser, can be resized using your plus and minus key. Okay? Your control and your plus or minus key, rather. Then there's your solid objects. You can choose an outline. You can choose an outline with a background fill, which let's go ahead and change that to a background fill. Now you'll notice if I have the red as a primary and the brown as a background, if I right click on it, I get just the opposite. I get the primary color in the background if I use the right mouse button. Very important. I also can just push on this button here, which is a solid color fill, and if I left click I get a red box. If I right click I get a brown box. Again, noting the fact that your colors will change depending on which mouse button you use. You can change your colors to get all kinds of neat effects. Now let's go ahead and go. Your circles and your rounded squares do exactly the same thing that your squares do. They're just a different shape. Now let's go to your polygon. Polygon will allow you to lay a canvas down here, and then it will pre-connect what you draw all by itself. Now the trick to this is, if I change it to a solid fill, like this one, and I right click, it's going to fill it with white. If I left click it, it's going to fill this with black. Okay? Now I can change it to, change that to pink, change that to black. So if I change my background color and I right click, you'll notice it'll color in the black, but when it finishes up it'll change to pink. Very, very important to learn your tools. Now this is the Polygon tool, and this will also give you either a background in pink or black. Okay? Thanks for the lesson, and please tune in again for more lessons. Have a great day.